When you think of presidents in the Coachella Valley, you think of Eisenhower, Ford, Reagan, and even President Obama. But one commander-in-chief you may not associate with golf and fun in the sun is Richard Nixon. And that's the focus of tonight's Our Desert Past. Our 37th president, Richard Milhouse Nixon, is most commonly remembered for the Watergate scandal and being the only president to resign from office.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
But Richard Nixon, like virtually every president in the past 100 years, had a connection to the Coachella Valley.
Well, Nixon loved the desert because he loved Walter Annenberg. And he loved Walter Annenberg because Annenberg did not turn his back on him after Watergate.
Presidential historian Evan Thomas's book, Being Nixon, takes a long, hard look at the enigmatic president.
We have a cartoon of Nixon, Tricky Dick, kind of an evil, almost vile person. He had some evil in him. He did. There was a dark side to Richard Nixon, but there was a human side too, a big human side. And I wanted to find that. I wanted to humanize him, to make him an actual person.
Nixon did not have many people who would say they were close to the man, but like any leader, Nixon valued loyalty above all else. And he had that in the Valley's own Walter Annenberg. After he resigned, there was only one person who reached out to the disgraced president and invited him to the desert during his darkest days, using Sunnylands as a refuge.
He was driven from office. People shunned him. But Annenberg had him at the Sunnylands. He was out here, I think, 3 or 4 days after he got on that helicopter and flew away from the White House. He was right here, and he never forgot that. He was grateful to Annenberg for having the courage to stand by him when nobody else was doing that.
Nixon was in the Valley for key moments in his political life. In 1968, as president-elect, he met with California Governor Ronald Reagan and Walter Annenberg. He also wrote his final State of the Union address at Sunnylands. And of course, he was here that fateful August in 1974.
Annenberg understood that Nixon was the underdog. The disgraced president was the underdog, and he was a friend. And Annenberg stood by his friend when nobody else was doing it. Annenberg, and he did it publicly by having him out here at Sunnylands to take care of him, to reassure him, to make him feel better. There was no reassuring. Nixon was miserable. He was in agony. But at least Annenberg tried to be his friend.
Nixon had been to the desert on numerous occasions, including when he was vice president during the Eisenhower administration. Nixon came to the Valley in hopes of getting closer to Ike and eventually winning his support for his own presidential run in 1960. Rumor has it that Ike, an impatient golfer, wouldn't allow his own vice president in his foursome because Nixon, well, was not a very good golfer. But again, that's just rumor. Well, if you love stories about our history, check out our friends down at the Palm Springs Historical Society. For more information, you can give them a call at 760-323-8297 or head to the website, pshistoricalsociety.org.